character is not a moral thing. Character is screwing up all the time, but knowing how to recover, really. I mean, like, in other words, it's how you recover from the screw ups or the mess ups or the childhood moments that come bubbling up in the heat of a moment. You know, it's not that you don't have them, right? And I often say with our team, it's like, it's amazing if we can find CEOs in crisis, because that's the best time to see how they react and how they respond. And so I celebrate implosions, and it's because it's the testament of how the company and the team and the individual, ultimately myself, when I screw up, you know, how do we recover, right?
By the way, and we're going through it now, Dan, right? I mean, think about it. This is very different from 2001 and very different from 2008, right? The bottom fell out in these two eras, right? This one is weird because you're not going to go off. If you see people doing layoffs, they're doing 15%, 17% layoffs, all that stuff. No one is going to 40% because they're trying to throttle on what is happening when the market will recover. And you have to do it thoughtfully and transparently with the team. They're reading everything that you're reading, probably more. And so how are you bringing judgment to making that happen? And I think in times like this, people underestimate, like the recession that we're going through, or the tough times we're going through economically, COVID. I think people underestimate the value of communication and transparency, right? And just saying, hey, you know, like you said, I think we made a bad call there. We're going to correct. But let me tell you what my thought process was so that you get a sense of how I solve problems. And, oh, that was a good call, right? And spending some time talking about both, not just, it's a rah world, right? Because they are keeping up with everything that you're seeing.
Yeah. And if they know you're genuine, they can read it, right?
Correct.
I mean, it matters. Tell us about a time when you felt like your business career character was really challenged, or a moment whenever you were really kind of formed as a leader.
It was a long time ago, a very long time ago. I've had many moments like that that are defining moments. But a long time ago, I think about my learning moments as in the beginning of my career, they were more public. And as my career progressed, they were more private, right? And I think that's the distinction for me. There was a public moment a long time ago when I was at Next and I was doing a demo and we had all the senior executives from Next and I was completely like imploding. And we had it was just imploding. I was like, I think my shirt was like drenched with sweat. I thought, you know, I thought I would take my grandmother's example of, you know, put a drop of water in the middle of your palm and jump in it and drown. I thought I had drowned. Like, make yourself so small that you just drown in that drop of water. And it was like, when it was happening, I thought my world was coming to an end. And what I learned from that process was that, you know, you breathe and you get up the next morning and you put one foot in front of the other and it kind of sort of works out. Right. And you just have to make sure you don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, but spend enough time to do any corrective actions, right? In making that happen. But that was mind blowing for me, right? And how it happened. And there's some other things that have happened as I've led larger and larger organizations, and the impact is felt 10x, right? It's not just the people that we employ at DataStax or we employ at Apogee. It's also their families. It is also the vendors. It's also the enterprise we work with. So there's a 10x impact on people. And which is why I go back to, you've got to keep it straight. All right. Why are you doing it? How are you doing it? If you screw up, you tell somebody that you screwed up and you just say, you know what, that was a bad decision. But there's a lot of great decisions we made and we'll get back on making great decisions again. So, but there is a distinction between what I used to care about earlier in my career. And my learning moments have been far more private recently.